Imagine living in a world where the loudest voice is routinely mistaken for the wisest, a place where influence replaces wisdom, and mere popularity becomes the only measure of truth. Now, stop imagining, because that is precisely the world we live in today. A society that once sought enlightenment through philosophy, reason, and virtue has slowly begun to worship ignorance disguised as supreme, unshakable confidence. But here is the immediate, painful question. How did we, the human race, capable of such profound thought, spectacular science, and enduring beauty, end up celebrating the superficial over the substantial? We will explore that journey through the piercing lens of Socrates, the man who dared to question everything, the figure who paid the ultimate price with his life for his devotion to objective truth. Socrates' warning is not merely a dusty historical footnote. It is a prophecy perfectly fulfilled in our digital age. His insights on the dangers of unchecked opinion and the seduction of rhetoric apply with terrifying precision to our modern culture. We will trace the philosophical decay from ancient Athens to the modern internet, and the final revelation at the end of this video will completely change the way you see contemporary life, your feed, and your own place within its endless, noisy streams. Socrates once walked through the streets of Athens, not with a proclamation, but with a question, making powerful people profoundly uncomfortable. He was the intellectual gadfly of the state. He exposed the illusion of knowledge, the false confidence of those who genuinely believe they knew everything when, in truth, they knew very little. His mission was simple yet explosive, to awaken people from their deep intellectual sleep. Yet, in our age, the sleep has become even deeper, and the critical difference is now we not only tolerate it, we actively celebrate it. The philosopher warned of a time when the sheer volume of opinion would definitively overshadow objective truth, a time when the masses would elevate those who spoke pleasing, comforting words rather than the difficult, honest ones. That time, which once seemed like a distant, dystopian prophecy, has become our daily reality. Look around. Our true idols are no longer thinkers, creators, or truth seekers. They are overwhelmingly entertainers, influencers, and provocateurs. They thrive entirely on attention, not understanding, seeking immediate validation rather than lasting insight. The ancient Greek agora, the marketplace of ideas, has been entirely superseded by the digital stage of social media, where the essential currency is likes, clicks, and shares, not logic, critical reasoning, or ethical consideration. But the problem is not just out there, it's within us, the consumers. We are naturally, psychologically drawn to the spectacle. We are conditioned to reward simplicity over complexity, raw, immediate emotion over patient reason, and above all, a captivating image over an elusive, hidden essence. This is precisely what Socrates warned against when he challenged the Sophists. He believed that the greatest, most insidious danger to society was not ignorance itself, which is curable through honest inquiry, but the illusion of knowledge. This happens when people stop questioning, when they become utterly convinced they already know everything. When that state is reached, true wisdom simply dies. Think about that for a moment. When was the last time you heard a public figure, or perhaps even yourself, admit with genuine humility, "I don't know, but I intend to find out"? In Socrates' time, such humility was not weakness. It was considered the definitive sign of a truly intelligent mind. Today, it's instantly weaponized as vulnerability. We are incessantly taught to speak louder, to assert ourselves, to project absolute certainty, but rarely are we encouraged to think deeper, to doubt our initial impulses, or to explore opposing perspectives. We are told we must have strongly held, immediate opinions about everything, even when we understand absolutely nothing of the underlying reality. And so, we have inadvertently built a complex, digitized civilization that fundamentally confuses visibility with value. The more people see you, the more important and essential you must be, even if what you project has no inherent depth, truth, or intellectual merit. This worship of mere appearance is exactly what Socrates fought against when he challenged the Sophists, the self-proclaimed wise men who used masterful rhetoric and emotional manipulation to appear intelligent while actively deceiving others for personal gain. The Sophists of ancient Athens have been perfectly reborn as our modern celebrities and political strategists who know exactly how to tailor a message to say precisely what the maximum number of people want to hear. They thrive by exploiting latent ignorance and feeding the powerful, hungry beast of human ego. But here's the deeper tragedy. Socrates believed that ignorance could ultimately be cured through the relentless power of questioning. What happens to a society when people no longer want to be cured of their ignorance? Our era is drowning in information, but knowledge without wisdom is merely noise. We have access to more raw data than any generation before us, yet we understand less about ourselves. Socrates' greatest, most enduring lesson was that wisdom begins and ends in the profound recognition of one's own ignorance. His famous assertion, "I know that I know nothing," was simple yet powerful, meant to humble the colossal human ego. Today, those words sound entirely alien in a world obsessed with aggressive self-promotion. We will now uncover how Socrates predicted the downfall of societies that abandon self-knowledge, and how that warning applies directly to the digital age of distraction. Before we get further into the prediction of society's downfall, let's look at what truly lies at the heart of this cultural transformation: the systematic, commercially driven replacement of wisdom with entertainment. Once we understand the mechanics of how we got here, we can begin to see why we keep repeating the same self-destructive mistakes. Socrates believed that a society could only flourish, could only sustain its freedom, if its citizens sought truth above mere comfort. He warned that when people begin to value superficial pleasure, fleeting status, and endless entertainment more than wisdom, self-control, and civic virtue, a societal decline becomes tragically inevitable. What he saw beginning in ancient Athens has now become the defining, all-consuming feature of our modern age. Look around. Our modern heroes are no longer the quiet thinkers who patiently question the status quo, but the dazzling performers who expertly distract us from it. We scroll endlessly, chasing instant stimulation, often mistaking the feeling of immediate engagement for genuine reflection. In a single moment, our screens present tragedy, comedy, and absurdity, all mixed together, each competing fiercely for a fraction of our precious, finite attention. It's not that intelligence has suddenly vanished from the world. It's that attention became the new, demanding God we collectively serve. And attention, unlike wisdom, is entirely amoral. It simply does not care about truth or ethical consequence. Socrates might ask us today, are you truly thinking through that complex issue, or are you merely reacting to the emotional trigger embedded within the headline? Because what often passes for thought in modern culture is frequently just the rapid, undigested echo of other people's opinions. We consume ideas like high-calorie fast food, quickly, emotionally, and without any genuine digestion. When the intellect is fed only with spectacle and sensation, it becomes weak, lethargic, and utterly unable to distinguish authentic, hard-earned knowledge from cheap, seductive illusion. In Athens, Socrates walked barefoot through the marketplace, asking questions that stripped people of their pretensions. What is justice? What is virtue? What is the good life? These were urgent, practical attempts to bring people back to the very essence of being human, self-knowledge. But imagine Socrates walking today through our digital marketplace, the endless, algorithmic feeds of social media. Would anyone stop to listen? Or would they simply scroll past, instantly looking for the next, more immediate distraction? And this leads us directly to the terrifying political warning from Plato. His student recorded Socrates' powerful belief that even democracy could only survive if its citizens were comprehensively educated in virtue and reason. Without that ethical and intellectual foundation, he warned, people would inevitably begin to elect those who merely stroke their egos and tell them what they want to hear, rather than those who challenge them with what they need to hear. Does that scenario not sound terrifyingly familiar? We are, in effect, living in the very scenario he described. Our public discourse has universally turned into theater, where objective truth must compete in a popularity contest, and often loses decisively. The problem is not merely the technology itself, it's the underlying psychology that fuels it. Every click, every share, every fleeting like instantly reinforces our emotional, impulsive drives, often bypassing our rational, critical thought. We become conditioned to seek external validation, the approval of the crowd, rather than deep, internal understanding. This is precisely how the worship of ignorance begins, not as a conscious, malicious choice, but as a gradual, unnoticed surrender to convenience and comfort. When you stop questioning your environment, you inevitably start following the path of least resistance. When you follow without critical thought, you begin the process of worship. Socrates would have called this moral decay, the pivotal moment when a society forgets that the fundamental purpose of life is not simply to be endlessly entertained, but to strive to become truly wise. Yet, this decay cunningly hides behind the powerful illusion of technological progress. We boast faster communications, smarter machines, and more physical comfort than any preceding generation. And yet, we are paradoxically lonelier, more anxious, and deeply more divided than ever before. How can a society that knows so much about the physical world understand so little about its own collective self? Think about the profound paradox. We celebrate influencers, but few of them genuinely influence anyone towards self-improvement or objective truth. Our world rewards those who appear certain, even when they are factually wrong, and frequently mocks those who humbly admit doubt, even when they are truly wise. Socrates would have been permanently cancelled before he ever reached the court of Athens, not for formal corruption, but simply for asking questions that made the powerful feel deeply uncomfortable. He said that the unexamined life is not worth living, yet the modern world is designed, constructed, and incentivized to prevent that examination at all costs. Constant, pervasive entertainment has become the new national philosophy. The ancient Greeks had a word for this ultimate arrogance: hubris, the overwhelming pride of thinking we know better than wisdom itself. And history repeatedly shows that hubris always ends the same way, with decline and collapse. But here lies a question we must all bravely confront. Is there still hope for a return to wisdom? Can a civilization that is psychologically addicted to overwhelming noise rediscover the power of silence? The profound silence where true thought, deep reflection, and genuine self-awareness are born. The psychologist Carl Jung once famously wrote that people will do anything, no matter how absurd or extreme, to avoid facing their own soul. Our modern culture is the perfect, dazzling embodiment of that truth. We compulsively fill every empty moment with content, because silence now feels like an existential confrontation. We would rather drown in endless distraction than risk swimming in the difficult waters of introspection. Yet, Jung, much like Socrates, believed that the path to healing and intellectual redemption begins with radical awareness, the moral courage to face oneself completely without comforting illusions. What makes Socrates timeless is not merely his methods of questioning, but his fundamental mindset. He never claimed to possess all the final answers. He simply knew that asking the right, penetrating questions was exponentially more powerful than pretending to know a comfortable lie. And here is the crucial takeaway for the digital age. You cannot single-handedly change the entire global culture, but you can absolutely change your fundamental relationship with it. You can choose to listen more deeply, to think far more critically, to speak less often, and to understand more profoundly. That is how the genuine revolutions of consciousness begin, quietly, within the sanctuary of the mind. Socrates believed that ignorance was not just the simple absence of knowledge, but a kind of deliberate moral blindness, a willful refusal to see and confront the truth. This blindness is often carefully engineered, cultivated, and maintained by forces that deeply understand how easily human beings can be distracted and subtly manipulated. Throughout history, those who seek control have learned one consistent, crucial lesson. It is always easier to rule the distracted, impulsive masses than it is to govern the wise, reflective citizens. In ancient Athens, the Sophists used rhetoric to deliberately confuse logic, turning intellectual debate into performative theater. Today, that exact same spirit dominates our media and our politics. We no longer sell ideas, we sell attention, and attention has become the world's most valuable, weaponized currency. Socrates understood this immense danger. He saw how easily the human mind could be flattered into obedience. He warned that people instinctively prefer the soft, soothing comfort of pleasing lies to the difficult, abrasive discomfort of hard truth. His method, the dialectic, was the perfect antidote to this cultural control. He engaged in dialogue not to win an argument, but purely to awaken the consciousness. Friedrich Nietzsche asserted that madness in individuals is rare, but in groups, it is the rule. This collective madness is exactly what Socrates saw emerging when people ceased thinking for themselves. When the fickle crowd becomes the ultimate judge of truth, wisdom quietly dies, replaced by consensus and comfort. But perhaps the most tragic part of all this is that we deeply confuse political freedom with consumer choice. We truly believe we are free because we can select from endless brands and opinions. Yet, Socrates would ask, if you cannot reliably control your own mind, your own impulses, are you truly free? Freedom, he taught, begins within, in the mastery of thought and desire. Without that inner, fundamental freedom, external liberty is ultimately meaningless. In his famous metaphor, the soul is a charioteer trying to guide two horses, one wild, our desires, and one disciplined, our reason. When reason falls asleep, the wild horse takes over, dragging us into chaos. This is the final, most powerful lesson that holds the key to the modern awakening. The greatest victory is not over others, but over oneself. His death was not a tragedy. It was an enduring message, a warning to all future civilizations. When a society kills its philosophers and celebrates its entertainers, its end has already been profoundly written. But Socrates would remind us that every historical era of darkness is, in reality, a hidden invitation for awakening. The antidote to our worship of fools is not anger or cynicism, but awakening, a quiet revolution of awareness, a courageous return to the inner dialogue. The moment you dare to ask yourself what is true, you step outside the noise of the crowd and into your own, authentic light. Socrates taught that to live with rate, excellence of the soul, meant aligning your thoughts, words, and actions with truth, even when it was inconvenient. In our time, that kind of integrity is revolutionary. It means valuing understanding over approval. The only true wisdom is in knowing you know nothing. It is not a confession of weakness, but a declaration of freedom. It is the starting point of genuine intelligence, the humility that finally opens the door to understanding. If this message resonated with you, you are part of the few who still seek meaning in an age of madness. You are, in Socrates' definition, a philosopher, not one who loves debate, but one who loves truth. Ask yourself one final, uncomfortable question. If Socrates was canceled 2,000 years ago, what is the difficult, unpopular question you will dare to ask today? Let the words of Socrates echo once more across the centuries. The true revolution does not begin in the streets. It begins, decisively, in the mind.